Good evening. It's been described as a human and industrial tragedy in the House of Commons today. MPs have been debating the future of hundreds of BAE workers facing redundancy at their plant in East Yorkshire. In total, 899 people will lose their jobs in Brough by the end of the year. And this afternoon, the local MPs told Parliament what effect that would have. Paul Murphy is live in Westminster for us right now. Paul, will anything change as a result of this debate? Has anything been achieved?
I think it's true to say, Peter, that both BAE Systems and the government have received a very powerful and passionate message today about BAE Systems in Brough, about the human impact of these potential job losses, the impact on grandfathers, fathers and sons, and about the impact to the wider economic community, and questions raised as well about BAE's business case for closing Brough and about what they're doing during this consultation period, whether it's real enough or not. The potential closures were described today as both painful and unnecessary.
This is a company which is rooted, as members have said on all sides, in East Yorkshire. Its impact when it leaves will be indescribable in terms of what they do, not just on the workforce, but also the work they do in local schools, in pairing with the university, with colleges.
It's plain to see, whether by accident or design, BAE are effectively moving to a position where the emblematic British aircraft, the Hawk, the Red Arrows aircraft, is going to be made abroad. That's where a serious part of our jobs are going now.
Well, BAE Systems has issued a statement tonight reiterating its case that these potential job losses are for commercial reasons, a slowdown in defence orders, and saying it's going to do all it can to mitigate those potential job losses. Well, I'm joined by Alan Johnson MP, who's one of those who spoke today in the Commons debate. Do you believe the company when it offers these reassurances?
No, I think the message from Parliament today is they have to rethink. As I said in Parliament, they've taken a decision to end 100 years of aerospace manufacturing on the Humber. To impress their shareholders with how tough they can be. They should be seeking to impress the workforce with how honourable they can be. And everyone in that debate, me, David Davis, all our local MPs have all been very supportive, but also people from Stockton South. There was a Conservative there who's not affected by this. They're all making the point, yes, we're in troubled times, but we have to do things differently. The B in BAE used to stand for British, and there's a real feeling here that unlike the Spanish and the Italians and the Germans, who've all been affected by the slowdown in the Phantom fighter, they're not putting highly skilled workers out of work, and they're not closing manufacturing facilities.
Let me get a question to Ian Gent, the union convener who represents the workforce. What realistically can the government or BAE Systems do to reduce that number of job losses?
I think what the debate showed today, that there's some real challenges, particularly on the company, to start looking very creatively, I think, with the words that Peter Luff used, in the way they're going through the consultations to try and mitigate. To date, it's been very insubstantial what we've seen from them. There's a role for government in this as well. At the end of the day, if BAE are going to persist in their plan, then we will be looking for traction from the government in terms of putting money into the area to attract business to the site.
And in a few seconds, Alan Johnson, the skills drain from this area is already beginning. How concerning is that?
It's very concerning. We want to have extra jobs for highly skilled people by getting Siemens in. We don't want Siemens to come just to replace highly skilled jobs that we've had for 100 years.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much for joining us. The BAE workforce is back in London next week to lobby Parliament over these job losses.
Paul, thank you. Well, with around a month left before the consultation on the job losses ends, there are fears that time is running out to try and find a solution. Siobhan Robbins has been speaking to residents and BAE workers in Brough.
Support the fight back for the Brough plant!
Since the cuts announcement in September, BAE workers have fought hard to save their jobs. Today, they had the attention of the House of Commons.
The closure of Brough is an industrial tragedy, but also a human tragedy as well. All so painful and all so unnecessary.
But it offered little comfort to Jackie. She's had to sell her house as both her and her husband face redundancy.
Well, I'm not feeling very optimistic at all at the moment. We're not really being told much at all, and just coming to work every day hoping to hear some news, and you know, there's just nothing. You know, all it seems to be is doom and gloom all the time, and there's just, I don't know, it just seems as though there's no future.
Hello. Hello. Good to meet you.
Today's debate comes just 8 days after a visit by the Shadow Defence Secretary. But despite numerous pledges of support, many people living here are still fearing the worst.
The MPs will lobby for anything, I think. People like myself on their side, but I don't think they can change big business somehow.
I cannot see a future for military aircraft production at Brough.
Well, they can only but try, and I'm sure they'll do the best for them, and it'd be a shame to lose those skills from this area.
But some staff are more positive. Darren and Mark have spent most of their working lives at the site. Today they spent their lunchtime listening as MPs debated their future.
After Christmas of this year, whole families will be looking for work.
If you've got your local MPs and government debating on what is potentially your future, it's got to help. We will not give up on it. And we're hoping that the company sees that, and we're hoping that the government sees that as well.
We have a highly skilled workforce, and even the government realise if you lose that skill, you'll struggle to retain it.
The first wave of redundancies are expected here next spring. Discussions are still ongoing though, and it's hoped today's debate will have helped. But it's clear workers here will continue to fight to stop the cuts. Siobhan Robbins, BBC Look North.